This is a view from the door, or the focal point. Come into the room.
And then I go from this side to down low.
Right.
Because this is where the bed's going to be.
Yeah.
So where she lied, it's just down low.
Yeah. You can check the consistency on the texture mix. It's ideal for comb patterns. It's not wet. It's reasonably stiff, but it could be rolled on, as you see. And because David is going to start the pattern running down a certain direction, he's starting at the far back of the wall. Which hand do you use a comb with, David?
Right hand.
Left
ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous, but your main hand is right.
Right.
Yeah, and because David is using his right hand to texture the ceiling using a comb, he's starting on the far right hand corner, as you see there. And if you notice, he's laying the texture on quite easily with a roller, with an extension on the handle, dipping it in, offering it up to the ceiling. And David is going to go the entire width of the ceiling with texture mixture. And you must always remember when you're using a comb pattern, using a comb to pattern, that the texture laid on the ceiling is rather thick, at least quarter inch in depth of rolled on texture. David is just loading up the 10-inch standard texturing comb to create this pattern. And as you see, he's laying the comb at an angle onto the surface, and he's just drawing through the texture.
What's that do?
That's okay. Also, you can notice that David is using the cornice as a template. Basically, if you follow a wall without cornice, sometimes the walls are all over the place, but when the cornice is on, he's starting with a full fan. So keep those fans nice and tight there. Beautiful, beautiful, David, beautiful.
Waiting.
And you can see, before David puts the fan on, he's doing a nice straight comb against the edge to fill in with pattern. That's looking good. How's that looking, David?
Winning.
Excellent. You happy with that so far?
Getting there, we're getting there.
Nice. You can see how David is cutting off each fan right next to the next one. That's it, fill in for the first row. If you notice as well, David is back to the wall. Yeah? So if you have your back to the wall and keep the pattern in front of you all the way down the length of the ceiling, is a way to do it. What size comb are you using there? 6.5 inch hair comb, yeah. Right, David is now using a 6.5 inch comb there to create an edge. And he's using a rose comb, 6.5 inch rose comb. But, like everything else in life, there's always room for improvement. Would you agree, David?
That's right.
Now he's drawn the template in the corner. He's used, I'm going to say, he's used the 6-inch edging which you've got against the edges there as a template to create a flower. With a bit of practice this is quite easily achievable for the ordinary layman, laywoman, layperson. Now we stepped down a smaller rose comb, 3.5 inch, to do the finalising little piece. As you can see, because David is keeping each fan tight next to the other one all the way through, you've got a nice row there which is running down just nicely down the ceiling. You can see the pattern forming now. That's it. Any little snots you got on there, any little lumps of unmixed texture, take them off. Because nothing looks worse than a little lump on your ceiling. And you're trying to do a professional job. Take them off. They're not welcome. And you don't need them in your mix. And you certainly don't need them shown on your pattern. On your finished pattern. This is a fan pattern which David is creating on the ceiling. Looking good, David, looking good.
Getting it.
David is not a youngster no more. This gentleman here is nearly 50. Hard drinker, womanizer, into everything. His hobby is he likes texturing. Ever since I've shown him how to you know, do it. He's quite a happy fellow, quite good, you know. Oh, he's stamped on.
Stars will go stiff, they're going to work it.
Yeah. What's it like, dude? Is the texture going off on the ceiling?
No.
No?
But if it do, just work it.
Right. With this particular ceiling, there was textured before, and it's been scraped off. It's been sealed or primed, which stops porosity, but it has to be primed very well. Quite a few coats of primer sealing is required for more success. It's no good skipping this part, otherwise when you're attempting something intricate using combs, you might fall into problems otherwise. So the preparation is vital. As you can see, he's coming to the other edge now. As you can see now, to finalise the pattern for the border edge, he's using a 3.5 inch rose comb to create them squigglies. Laying the comb onto the texture, slightly bent over. Whoops! Steady now, dude, steady now. You see, Do's keeping his tools clean. Keep every comb clean with water. Do not wet the handles, otherwise you'll find them hard to control. Now he's using a 1 inch narrow paintbrush just to tidy up the edge along the coving or cornice. Very important. It just tidies up the edge. It gives a neater job and neater finish. And washing off the cornice at the same time. David, obviously you scraped off this texture, or you had this ceiling scraped off.
With a stipple effect.
With a stipple effect. So the ceiling there is quite porous. And what did you use to seal it, David?
Vinyl silk.
Vinyl silk. which is an emulsion. So how many coats of vinyl silk did you put on there, David?
2, but I'm pretty good at it.
Right.
So I would advise 3 or 4 coats. To
3 or 4 coats if you're going on top of a textured scraped off ceiling, yeah? And obviously, you know, before anybody scrapes off texture, it's always advisable to have it checked to make sure there's no asbestos in there, as you should know. So David has put 3 coats of vinyl silk. Any silk watered down, David?
I watered the first one down.
Watered the first coat down so it sinks into the ceiling.
Then put a solid coat on it.
Then a full solid coat. Yeah, 1 or 2 full solid coats.
I put
2. So on top of that, so there's 3 coats of sealer or primer, or what David has used is vinyl silk. See, David? Yeah.
Water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
Don't let things bother you, do you?
No. That's looking very neat there, David. You can see there's a focal point by the entrance of the room, and David is run his pattern a different way than which I would run it, but it's to customers' preference, so there's no right or wrong way. It's just, if you tend to do this for the customer, make sure you go through it with them.
Which way you want?
Yeah, explain to them what it's going to look like and if it's the right way, because obviously once it's done, you know, it's hard to change again. You can see the centre light, which is in the centre, is in a way, and David's going to actually attempt a nice ornamental rose around there shortly. We're going to show you that. Yes. David, can I ask you a question now?
Of course.
How long did it take you to actually learn to do a comb pattern so you're confident enough to actually do your own jobs for yourself and for your customers?
I'd say a good year.
A good year? That sounds like a tyre.
Yeah.
Right, okay then.
But it was
Right.
to get it, you could do it quicker,
Right.
but to get to a standard where you're comfortable with it,
Yeah.
and to do it as a living,
Right.
it is a lot of practice.
Excellent. Did you have a good teacher, dude?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yourself.
Oh, why thank you, dude. But is this something you enjoy?
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
I always suggest if you're going to learn something,
Right.
learn from the best, because you can't rectify it after.
Oh, why thank you, David. But in my opinion, I know you said it took a year to learn, but I would argue with it, because even every job I'm doing, and every ceiling and every wall, I'm learning.
Yeah.
I am still learning.
Yeah.
So you can always hone yourself.
A certain amount of time, but...
Yeah. And dedication and practice and enjoyment is, you know, is essential.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, for
It's essential.
of course, enjoy it. I know that when I do a job, people see it, but while I'm actually doing it, it's like really enjoyable.
Very rewarding when it's done.
Yeah.
You didn't see I done that.
Yeah. And it's something visible, a visual, which others see, and if they like it, yeah, that's a good job. Here in the UK, some ceiling attempts, you know, people jumped onto texturing, and they could have done with a bit more practice, and some of the jobs weren't very good, and it does take skill and stuff, but years ago there was no information how to texture. One had to find out how to do this for themselves, with trial and error.
Well, get the light bit in now because you can't go right in, but the
Right.
rolls will cover that.
Right, excellent. There we are. So you've still got the row of patterns coming down, the row of fans going down diagonal. Like what David is doing here now is laying on, using the comb to lay thick texture on a round light rose. And you can see he's using a round rose as a template. He's following the template. This is essential to create a nice rose effect using templates, and the template is a plastic rose. There we are. Now he's drawn a full template along with the 10-inch rose comb. But this pattern looks just as nice with a standard 10-inch comb, which is what I would use personally. No, well, when we first started this years ago, yeah, it was neck aching. But what we've done, we actually do warm-up exercises before we do each ceiling, which loosens you up, like, you know. Yeah, we've devised a little warm-up technique of stretching, and your shoulders and arms get used to this. You don't feel it after about 10 years of texture. He stepped down now to a 6.5-inch rose comb. He's laying on texture using the centre rose as a template. Laying on the texture to make sure there's enough depth of texture onto the ceiling before he finishes this pattern. Is the texture on there stiffening up, dude, or is it still? It's getting a little bit stiffer, but David's working it. So, you know, as I say, the better you prime or seal your ceiling, the less chance have you got the texture going off whilst you're working it, which is essential.
Now drop down to this one.
Now he's going down to a 3.5-inch rose comb, yeah, 3.5-inch rose comb. He's going to create the squiggly flower. So basically David's created an ornamental centre-light rose effect, basically using 3 rose combs, a 10-inch, a 6.5-inch and a 3.5-inch. The same effects could be used with a mixture of rose comb and standard combs, or even just a set of 3 standard combs. The same effect, you know, obviously looking slightly different.
Crazy, this. You can see it's going off a bit here now, Dale.
Yeah, so it's starting to go off a little bit. But yeah, David is working it. It's not going off so bad that it's really stiff. It's still workable if you persist. I would say, like, you know, this is why preparation and especially priming your surface, your ceiling or your wall is vital. You can't get away from it. What was your trade, David, before you actually learned to texture?
Plasterer.
You was plasterer, yeah? Skimmer?
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Totally different.
Totally different, right, excellent. Before he progresses any further with the main pattern, he's using the rose combs again to catch up on the edging. Right, David, you know, has stepped down to a smaller comb because he's come right to the edge. You can see what he's going to do now. He's going to fabricate so it looks like a bigger comb. And you can see the wide swoop, but it doesn't matter because he's going to use a 6-inch comb around the edges and the border anyway. So this is one example. For instance, David could use a 6.5-inch comb here to put this in, and he would create the effect just nice. But he's got to fabricate freehand, you know, the patterns, which will cover the, you know, cover the mess. Basically,
you've got to create yourself. Yeah.
As you can see, because David is using this 6.5-inch comb to create a border, you can see he's cut off those dodgy fabricated combs that come right at the end. Yeah, you got those rows and lines down there, nice, David. Done a very good job, yeah. Some people might be, you know, saying about painting this afterwards with emulsion. Water-based emulsion must be used, preferably matte first, matte flat emulsion, not silk. If you put silk straight onto a porous ceiling like this texture, once it's dried out, it'll flake right off. So it's got to be watered right down. So it's always best to use matte emulsion first to give the first coat, and use a roller, a shaggy pile roller, which will easily get into the pattern. So it's not a problem painting. And you know, some people use a paintbrush to paint the whole ceiling, believe it or not. But you know, a roller is ideal for painting a textured ceiling.
Yeah.
Right, David has got his 10-inch rose comb here. He's creating the final flower. He's trying to fabricate something here, as you can see. All in all, David, from start to finish, once you've cleaned this up, How long do you think this ceiling actually took you? Just
Hour?
over, yeah,
Just
just over an hour. Just over 1 hour. Excellent.
And a good thing
Here's a finished ceiling from the focal point. Like I say, there's different ways to run your ceiling. It's up to your preference, your customer's preference.
Is that the fucking do?
Lovely.
I do, don't I?
Yeah, David's using a finger technique, using his finger to clean it up, which is also washing off the white rows instead of using a brush, because there's more control with using your finger around to create the tidy finish basically, yeah. So that's the finger technique.
So, what did you do?
Excellent.
Just roll. Watch yourself, Dave.
So far, looking good. The ceiling is not quite finished yet. It's not advisable to leave a ceiling. Once you start one ceiling or one wall, never leave it. Just do it all in one hit. Otherwise there'd be problems. So you can't stop and start halfway through one ceiling or one wall. It'll have to be completed in one go. This is why I say to mix up enough texture and to make sure you've got enough to complete the whole job.